Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we have Cubic Infinite Gates. Very interesting deck. It's pretty consistent too, because we've got tons of draw cards. Magician Souls is one of them, and you've got tons of ways to get to your combo pieces. Full combo is just Duza plus any tuner extender. So right here we're just going to get to that tuner extender by discarding our Cubic Karma. We can search for Duza. And now since we have our tuner extender and our copy of Duza, we can do stuff. But I mean, we have Magician Soul, so we might as well fire that off too. It hits an impermanence, but it's fine. We normal summon Duza, Ascension, and we're going to chain block our Hulk, so this deck can easily chain block some stuff too. And even through a couple of hand traps, you still end on your barrier statue lock too, which is pretty nice. So we're going to go into Link Cross, summoning a few tokens, and then we're going to go into Unification first, so that we free up some space for our cards, and that will be summoning some stuff. Now we go into Arclight, we're going to activate Reproductus, which will be changing that thing to Wing Piece, and then we can go into Simorg. Now our Ascension will trigger again, summoning one more thing, and now we get to send another thing, which will get us another Search, and pretty much this is usually your end board. This is usually your end board. Just you have your Duza, your Arclight as an extra negate, also give you resilience to forbidden droplets, and you have your Miss Valley Apex Avian lock. Unfortunately, you do not have your what's the word I'm looking for? You do not have your IP Masquerena to protect your Thunderbird, but still you do, your opponent has to bait one negate to get your Thunderbird out, and even through that bait of one negate, they still have to go through two other cards. So, let's see what we do up against the Resonators. They start with the Resonator command, which will get negated, and then, negate. And you're gonna activate Crimson Resonator, they negate it again. Everything's getting banished, by the way, because they're being sent from the hand. And he normal summons Witch of the Black Forest. And then he activates effect. I don't want him to get searched, so I negate with Avian, and he passes. He just surrenders. He can't do anything. He's already used his normal summon, and with your Duza, you can pretty easily just OTK as a follow-up. That's pretty nice too. So let's go straight to our next replay now. For our next video, we're going second against Sky Strikers. They have two hand traps and an interruption. This can be kind of bad for us, so let's see how we do. He sets Cosmic Cyclone, pass. Okay, we start with our Tara, and then we can normal summon the Red Resonator. If my opponent hand trapped the Red Resonator somehow, I would still be able to go into Barrier Statue Lock, which is something I like. So I try to like bait out as many negates as I can. We're going to chain block our Hulk once again, but it does get eaten by an Ash. I should not have negated that Ash. I should have just kept my Call by Grave, because I still could have gone into my what do you call it? I still could have gone into my Barrier Statue Lock, but it's fine. We can still do some stuff. We have Adhara on our field, so next we go into a Metal March. We're going to use effect to bring back something, and then we link into Reproductus. We're going to activate Ascension once again, not Ascension, Unification, and then we get to summon Duza. Duza will dump Karma, so that, not Karma, Dharma, so that we recur one Duza from a graveyard, and then we go into Simorg Bird of Sovereignty. We're going to use Duza's effect to gain a lot of attack, then go into Union Carrier. We're going to put up the Miss Valley Apex Avian, Thunderbird I mean, and then he'll just banish it with Cosmic Cyclone. But since I have no use for Avian without my Thunderbird, I just summoned Statue. He can't target my Stormwinds because of my Simorg protecting it, and setting Ash isn't going to do much. He can't target any of my Winged Beasts right here, and I don't think he has 3 spells in his graveyard for Widow Anchor, so there's no way he can win. Even through 2 hand traps, we were still able to do some stuff, and an extra interruption, and because of the interruption, we could just immediately snap to our Barrier Statue, so that's another nice thing. And now let's go straight to our next replay now. For our last replay, we have Infernity. It's looking like pure Infernity to me, because he's playing Randomizer and even General, so that's one thing. So we are going to be starting off going first with a Cubic Dharma, which will discard 1 and draw 1. Jet Synchron isn't exactly what we want to see, but this just shows what happens if we do not draw, if we cannot go into Infinite Gates. We just do some Christian Hockey Fireback stuff, going into Link Cross and whatnot, Pretty much we just end on barrier statue and a herald. This is kind of a basic your health combo. Barrier statue plus herald. Your barrier statue is not protected in any way or form, so that's one weakness, but still they have to waste their battle phase and they still have a mini macrocosmos and a negate to worry about, so that's pretty decent. Not sure why he didn't just normal summon Archfiend. I mean, normal summon Archfiend wouldn't have really done anything, it would just be a dead card. Pretty much there was nothing he can do as an Infernity player to go past your barrier statue. Even if he attacked over my barrier statue, I still had another negate. I don't really see how he could do anything apart from his Infernity Archfiend. So yep, that's those were some replays I had. This deck can easily snap to whatever you want, depending on what you're playing against. So let's go to our deck profile now. So right here we have the deck, starting off with our little Simorg summons. We have 3 copies of Apex Avian, not 3, 1 copy of Apex Avian and Thunderbird for Infinite Negates, 1 copy of Barrier Statue just for your statue lock. If you want, you can just play pure statue lock. It's kind of difficult to protect it, which is why I don't really recommend going against it. But if you're up against something like Invoked that can't really go past a barrier statue, then you should probably do it. We run a Magician Souls, 1 Apprentice Illusion, and 3 Magician Souls. This is mainly if we draw some copies of Unification of Cubic Lords, or if we want to send to the graveyard some copies of Cubic Karma or Dharma. So that is very good because we like to have our spells and traps in the graveyard. Also going first, you might draw into a dead Dark Ruler. So that's another thing. Next for our quote-unquote cubic engine, it's pretty decently sized, 10-15 cards, however you want to see it. We start with 3 copies of Duza. We want to see this as often as possible. 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods to send Karma in order to search Duza. Karma can search Duza in the graveyard. The main reason I run 3 is really just to discard it off our Cubic Dharma, which can discard a Cubic card in order to draw 1, so it can discard any copies of Unification of the Cubic Lord you might have in your hand, or any copies of Karma. Also, you can send both of those to the graveyard with Magician Souls too, so you're kind of running 6 copies of cards that you can discard them with. If you want, you can also just I was thinking of maybe taking out 1 copy of Dark Ruler, just because when you're going second, you do get the extra draw, so we're more likely to draw it, even if we do put it down to 2. So if you put that down to 2, you can also just put in 1 V-Jam for the first effect of your Karma. Some people like to play it like that. I guess you can, but that's it's a mad choice if you want. It's really just to go for OTKs with your Duza, because your Duza can usually just go to like about 3,000 and something attack just by itself. 3 copies of Dharma, you want to kind of see this as often as possible just to discard your Karmas or Unifications. Also, while it's in the graveyard, it can recur cards, so if you do not have any copies of Duza in your hand or deck for Unification of the Cubic Lords, you can just recur 1 with your Cubic Dharma instead, which is actually, which sometimes happens a lot in your duels. On 3 copies of Unification of the Cubic Lords, this is kind of a brick if you don't count discarding it off your Dharma or your Magician Souls. But what it does in the graveyard is that if a cubic monster leaves the field, you can just banish it from the graveyard and summon another cubic. So since Duza is normal substitution, you can summon Duza, send another Unification, and just link climb that way. 1 copy of Mega Phantom Beast Olion for your little combo there. 1 copy of Jet Synchron. Think of just taking out Jet Synchron. Maybe you can just put in Dark Ruler over here. You don't really need Jet Synchron that much anymore. I think I was playing it when I was actually playing Auroradon 2 for my Halki Fibrax combo, but now I'm just going straight on Barrier Statue instead, just to fit the team. So I guess I'll just take out my Jet Synchron for now. 3 copies of your Atara. This is one of your best, this is a very good tuner extender where it just summed itself from your hand for free. And 3 copies of Red Resonator. This can really be anything you want, but I just feel Red Resonator is the best, although it can get hit by something like an Impermanence. If you already have an extender like Magician Souls or your copy of Adhara, you can just easily extend into a Halky Firebrax combo. So getting impermed on a red resonator isn't that big of a deal. And one copy of Birdman. This card is actually so much better in this deck than you think, because Unification says if a cubic monster leaves the field, so even if it returns to your hand, Unification will trigger. So if you normal summon Duza, dump Unification, bounce it back for Birdman, and then you can just summon Duza again, and just keep on link climbing that way. Usually for your main combo you would only need 2 copies, but for Birdman we can run 3, also for Magician's Souls and Dharma. Next, for some generic cards, 3 copies of Call by Grape for hand traps, 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More, just so that you don't instantly die going second, and 3 copies of Impermanence. If you want, you can also just swap these Dark Ruler No Mores out for Effect Veilers. It's honestly up to choice, but either one is fine. Sometimes the Effect Veilers can come in clutch, so that's something you might want to consider. There's just any 6 hand traps you want of choice, Nibiru, Ash, Ghost Bell, whatever you want. Next, for extra deck, we run 1 copy of Arclight and 1 copy of Metal Marcher. You really just make them when you're going for your Barrier Lock combo. 1 copy of Avermax. Sometimes if you're able to extend enough, then you are able to just use Avermax and then go into like an IP Masquerena or something. It does come up sometimes, but not as often as you would expect. 1 copy of Access Code just to finish games for free. If you summon Access Code, most of the time you have won the game, and your opponent can probably just sign the match slip from there. 1 copy of Simorgh Bird Sovereignty. This is to summon either your Apex Avian or Barrier statue. 2 copies of Hulk. Hulk is just really nice to have. It's your main. I run 2 mainly because if one gets Ash, and also just 1 for a follow-up, although it's not very likely that if you're going Duza route, it will get Ash. Pretty versatile card, so I do run 2 of it. 1 copy of Lanferincus. It actually comes up in this deck, believe it or not. The main way it actually does come up is that when you're drawing off Magician's Souls or your Cubic Dharma, if you already have a monster on the field, mainly if you're going for Magician's Souls and you have it on the field, and then you draw into your Adhara and you don't have any other tuner extenders, you link into Lanferincus. Now, since you no longer control any effect monsters, you can trigger Adhara and summon itself, then you go into Hulk. I know, 10,000 IQ. 1 copy of Unicarrier. Unicarrier is just to get Thunderbird on the field. 1 copy of Barricade Borg. I used to play this in my Auroradon variant. Just ignore it. Just put in Unicorn instead, and live life happily. Just ignore that Barricade Borg, it was never there. 1 copy of IP to go into your Avermax. Very situational though. Unless you want to sacrifice your Herald of the Arclight for an Avermax. If you want to do that, you can, but sometimes it does come up, your IP. 1 copy of Reaper-Docus. Reaper-Docus is Reaper-Docus, just changing stuff into Winged Beasts for your Simorgh. And 2 copies of Linkross. I run 2 of each of these, mainly because they're choke points. So 2 of each of them is kind of warranted. This is mainly just to extend your combos into some synchro plays. And finally, 1 copy of Unicorn, 1 copy of Phoenix. They're just generics. You can put in whatever you want there. So that's the deck. I hope you enjoyed it. Pretty consistent, pretty flexible to what combos you can do, and you do have space for hand traps too. So remember to if you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, as it really does help the channel. And I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.